Hi there, welcome to Polish Up Your Pedagogy. We're looking today at the visible thinking routines and this is part 3 of 3. So this links to the learning sales where learners are given opportunities for sustained thinking and periods of reflection. And here's how it looks to the GTCS standards for CLPL. It's 2.1.4. to have an enhanced and critically informed understanding of planning for assessment, teaching and learning. So in this third instalment, we're going to look at some of the core routines for digging deeper into ideas. So again, we'll look at 4 routines and talk about ways that you might be able to use this in your classroom. Here is an example called, What Makes You Say That? The purpose of this routine is to support children in identifying the basis for their thinking, for them to be able to elaborate on the thinking that lies behind their responses, and to start to foster a disposition towards evidence and reasoning. This is a really brilliant tool for questioning across all areas of the curriculum. It really gets pupils to consider evidence that they know, or experiences which back up their thinking and their ideas. And another really great thing about this tool is that it helps teachers to identify misunderstandings, which then can help you plan in how you want to support pupils' learning. It's a really quick and easy routine to get started with. The second routine today is called Step Inside. And the purpose of this is to view a place, people, situations, events or things through different lenses and different points of view. It can open up possibilities then for being really creative, for example, creating pieces of writing. In this routine, the children need to consider what the person or thing can see, observe or notice, what they might know, understand, hold true or possibly believe, what that person might care about, and any questions or wonderings that person might have. So they're really putting themselves inside another person's perspective. It really helps them to consider something other than their own point of view. This can be a really powerful tool in literacy when considering conflict in a text and different characters' actions. I've seen it used to help develop characters with younger pupils, so they have to consider what their characters know or what they care about. It can support social subjects where pupils can uncover why people have behaved the way they did. And it works really well as a discussion which leads into writing about events, about people from the past and about perspectives. A really versatile routine. Our third routine today is called Tug of War. The purpose of this is to understand some of the complicated forces that tug at either side of a fairness dilemma, and to start reasoning really carefully about the pull of these factors and how important they are to the reality. It also helps pupils to appreciate much deeper complexities around fairness and situations that could appear black and white on the surface. I like to set up this routine quite literally with a long piece of rope and identify and frame those 2 opposing sides on that piece of rope. The way I like to do it is to get the pupils to stand where they think they fall on that frame, on that opposing line. After you've done that, they can generate as many tugs or reasons that pull them towards their perspective. As a class then, you can determine the strength of each tug, placing the strongest reasons at the farthest end, and capture all of those what-if questions that arise and put them above the tug of war rope so you can discuss what that looks like. Again, this is a really flexible routine that can be used in a number of curricular areas, especially where there are conflicting points of view. I've seen this used effectively in literacy, where character conflicts have been analysed, or if a text had been left on a cliffhanger, what the character might do next. It can be used when posing moral questions in RME, or in a huge range of health and well-being topics and themes. But it can also be used in different contexts, for example in science, to consider opposing sides of current debates relating to animal testing or about the use of genetically modified foods. It could be used in social subjects to think of reasons for and against proposed land use. It could even be used just in your classroom to get pupils to consider class rewards and what that would look like for them and why it would be the way it was. A really versatile tool for it to be able to support. And finally, our last thinking routine today is called a circle of viewpoints. So this one helps children to identify different perspectives that could be present in or affected by what's just been read or seen or heard. It can explore one perspective in further detail. Pupils then can explain their reasoning and ask questions from a differing perspective. I've seen this routine used particularly well in literacy when considering character motivations. A really good example I saw was the use of the book Holes when the boys are out digging on the lake bed. Pupils were able to take the point of view of the children, of the sun beating down on them, and even managed to take on the perspective of the inanimate objects that were being used by the boys, like water bottles and the shovels, and why those things were happening. It can be really well used in curricular areas like social subjects. In history, it can be used to consider all the people involved in decision making. In other areas of social subjects, it could be used to look at local councils or at Parliament and the decisions that people make for their communities. There are lots of ways to use this to dig deeper into the reasoning behind actions. So again, we were looking at the learning sales there, that learners are given opportunities for sustained thinking and periods of reflection. And just consider the question from 2.3 Learning, Teaching and Assessment in How Good is Our School For? How well do we deploy a wide variety of innovative and creative resources and teaching approaches, including digital technologies? Thanks for joining us today, and if you do require anything else, please don't hesitate to get in touch.